Hello, my fellow code toasters. Welcome back to Toaster Code, where we toast confusing JavaScript concepts till they are golden brown and delicious. So, today we are talking about functions, one of the most powerful and lovable part of JavaScript. Unless you call them wrong way, then they ghost you. So, now the question comes is what is a function? Okay, so in simple words, a function is a block of code that does something. It's like a machine, you give it an input, it does the work, and gives you back the output. Okay, what it is, a function is a block of code that does something. That's it. That's like the very basic definition of a function. You just write a piece of code inside a block, and that's function. Think of it like this. You don't want to rewrite the same 10 lines every time you need to greet someone, so instead you put it inside a function. Okay, let's jump directly into the practical things. Okay, we'll not waste much of the time. So let's quickly see a basic example. Okay, then maybe you will be able to understand it more better way. So function greet. All right, don't worry about what I'm writing or how it is. I'll explain you everything. All right. Okay, so this is how you write a basic function in JavaScript. This is you are telling JavaScript that hey, this greet is a function. Okay, that's why you added function at the beginning. Okay, and then this is a block. This is the block of this greet function. Whatever you will write inside this block, that will be a greet functions block. Okay, so inside this block we wrote console.log hello. So let's say you have to say print hello 10 times in your code, so you are not going to write this hello again and again and again 10 times in the code. That will be like very ugly code. Okay, just like an intern is writing the code maybe. So instead of that, you'll write a function and you can call the function wherever you need. Okay, that's a basic way. So now this is the function declaration. Okay, we just declared a function called greet. Then we are going to call this function, because without calling this function, this writing a function is of no use. Okay, and this is how we are calling a function, the name of the function. You just write it and we just call the function. Let's just see its output here. We can see the output in our console. Hello. You write it here, hello world, and we'll see it. That's a basic way of writing function in JavaScript. This is like a public restaurant. You can call an order from it anytime, even before it opens officially. That's hoisting in action. Remember, we studied about hoisting in our previous videos. Okay, so now what it means, I'll show you in the later on in this video. So a function only runs when you call it. Okay, this is the calling of a function. Calling of the function. Okay, if you'll not call it, this function is of no use. If we'll just do this, we don't have any output. It's just a useless thing if you'll not call the function. Okay, without calling it, it's just sitting there like your lazy X, full of potential but doing nothing. Okay, now why we use functions? So the first point will be uh, reuse the code without rewriting it. Okay, whenever you need hello world, you just don't have to write this console log again. You just call the function greet. Okay, then organize logic into chunks. Let's say you have to write a huge logic of a code. It's just a basic console log that we have seen here, but let's say you are making an calculator and you have to make a addition function. Okay, in that case what you will do, you are not going to write addition again and again, the logic of addition again and again. So instead of that, what you will do, you will make a addition function. Okay, so you can organize your logic into smaller chunks, and the chunks will be the function. Organize your logic into chunks. All right, then this function will make your code more readable. Okay, because and like just by looking at this function, that okay, this is the function greet, what it's doing, it's greeting. Just this small chunk will tell you that what this part of the code is doing. Okay, so this will make your code readable. And using the function will avoid copy pasting like zombie. You don't have to you copy this console.log hello world again and again wherever you were going to need. You don't have to do copy paste of this. Okay, now as I told you earlier that this function is like a public restaurant. You can call it and order from it anytime, even before it opens officially. That's hoisting in action. Now what is hoisting here? So function hoisting here is something like really cool. If you declare your function uh, like this using this function keyword, you can even call it before it appears in your code. I'll show you how. Like we declared this function over here. Okay, then we called it here. Okay, but we can call it earlier as well. Let's see what will happen if we'll declare it here. Let's just remove it from here. See, we are getting hello world again. You will get the output even before you declare the function. This JavaScript hoist function declaration to the top. Okay, just like it hoists your crush name to the top of your brain before exams. So same like that, this hoisting trick only works with function declarations. Okay, not function expression or arrow functions. We'll get to that in the coming part. As we learned how to create a function using the classic function declaration, this is like the very classic way of declaring a function using the function keyword. Okay, but JavaScript is a modern language. It has styles, and just like your friend who wear Crocs with socks, some are cool, some are questionable. So let's talk about it. Let's see what is function expression. A function expression is when you create a function and store it in a variable. Yeah, JavaScript is really cool. You can store a function inside a variable. What is function expression? Yeah. So a function expression is when you create a function and store it in a variable. So let's see it by example. So we'll do const hello equal to function and then console.log hello world. Okay, now how we are going to call this? So you see, this is how we declare a variable, as we have seen this in the our previous video, the variable video of JavaScript. If you haven't seen it, just go and watch that video. Okay, so this we put a function inside a variable. Now how we are going to call it? We are going to call it as same way as we call the function above, like hello this uh, hello world from a variable. See, it's working fine. Here we are creating an anonymous function. Like this function has no name. Okay, this is just a function. We just use this function keyword, okay, to write this function, and we put this function in this variable. We call it anonymous function. This is an anonymous function. Okay, no name, and we are assigning it to variable hello. It works exactly the same when called. This is like a private chef you have hired, but you can't ask them to cook until they are arrived. No hoisting here. Okay, you can't do this over here. Like if I'll do it here, this hello, I'll let me just comment this out. And if you'll do this here, you have an error now. See, reference error. can't access lexical declaration hello before initialization, because this is const. If you have remembered our previous variable classes, you will be able to understand this concept. Okay, that's why we are getting the reference error over here. Let's do it here like this. Okay, I'll show you today how weird JavaScript is. We still have the error. Hello is not a function now. If you are doing it with the var, then hello is not a function. Let's do it with let. Can't access lexical. So if I'll do this const over here, let's just take to our one. Let's just remove it from here and just do it. And we don't have any error now. So we have seen over here the function declaration, and this is the function expression. Okay, now you see the difference. Function declaration is hoisted, but function expression is not hoisted. Okay, let's maybe write it for you. So function declaration equal to hoisted, but function expression is not hoisted. Got it? Now we'll see another way of writing a function. That's called arrow function. Let's see the arrow function. This arrow function is a newer, shorter way to write a function, like clean and expressive. Okay, so let's write arrow function now, and I'll show you how you can take the parameter from the in the function. Okay, so let's do const add. Let's write a function to add two numbers. Okay, so here you can pass a and b. Let's say we have two parameters we have to pass. We have to print let's say we are writing a calculator application, and there we are writing a function to add the numbers. Okay, so we can do it here, and then we will write an arrow over here. Okay, and then this starts its block, and then we will write the return statement, return a plus b, just like this, and it's done. Now you can't do this here. If you will call the add function over here, nothing will happen. See, you don't have any output. Why? Because you are just returning it. You have not printed anything. Then how the result is going to come on the console? You have to print this result. Okay, and also you have not passed any value to a and b. Let's try to passing over the value over here, 5 and 6. Okay, see, still no result. So instead of this, what you have to do, you have to print your result. So we can do console.log, and here we will call our function. All right, 5 plus 6, 11. So arrow functions are like writing poetry in JavaScript. Short, modern, and no extra fluff. Okay, short, modern, and no extra fluff. Arrow functions are like sending a quick emoji instead of full text. It's faster and cooler, but not meant for everything, especially deep emotional talks or handling this context. Okay, this, what is this? I mean, this, this is a keyword in JavaScript. Okay, we'll talk about it later. So when we are handling this, in that case, arrow function is a bit dramatic. So if it's a one liner, you can make it even shorter in uh, JavaScript. I'll show you a short program. Okay, like you have to print the square of a number. Okay, so we can do this const square equal to, we are taking a parameter. All right, and this is the smallest program you function you will write. See how you can, now you can call it as same as we called above one, console.log square. Let's see here, 25. And one more thing about this is, it's like you don't have to write any return or curly braces for this type of function. if the function has single expression, just like this is a single expression. So if the function has single expression, it's implicitly returned. Okay, you don't no need to write return explicitly. JavaScript just knows this thing. Okay, if you are writing a single expression, JavaScript knows that, okay, I'll return this. You don't have to tell it that, hey, return this. No, JavaScript is smart enough to do these things. So when to use arrow function and when to use other function. Okay, we have seen multiple ways to declare a function. So you can use arrow function for short and clean task. Okay, and use regular function when you need more control on the function. Okay, because here you will see you can't do much over here, right, when it's a arrow function. But here, like, if these are the function or this is the function, you can do whatever inside in this function. So you can assign functions to variables because functions are first class citizen in JavaScript. Now how you can do this, let's see. So you just write this basic function say hi, hi there. Okay, we just stored the function. Now what you can do, we can do that const greeting equal to say hi. Now what we did here, we wrote a function say hi. Okay, here say hi is our function, and we created a variable named const greeting. Okay, and we passed the say hi to this greeting variable. Okay, now how we are going to print the result over here of this console. We have written a console log, so we should see a value over here in our console. So how we are going to do this, same way as you call the function, you just call the variable now. Okay, you just call the variable now, and here you got hi there. You assign this, write the function, assign it to variable, or return or print whatever you want to do from the function. Okay, and you can store them in an object or array or variable, anything. You are literally storing a function. Okay, you are storing a function inside a variable. All right, so we know how to write functions, assign them to variables, and use those fancy arrow versions. But so far our functions are pretty boring, like a party with no snacks. Or what if we want to make our function dynamic? What if we want to pass data into it and have it behave differently based on that? Well, say hello to parameters and arguments now. Okay, now what are parameters and arguments? Parameters are placeholders you define when creating a function. Okay, parameters are like placeholders which you are defining when creating a function, that okay, I'm going to pass these values in this function. Arguments are the actual value when you call the function. So parameters are placeholders you define when creating a function. Arguments are the actual value you pass in when you call the function. Now what it means, let's just see it with examples. Okay, no, we are not here to talk about theoretical things. Okay, let's write function add, and we will take a and b. So we have already defined function add above, so let's just comment it. All right, now we have a function add. All right, and we will do console.log a plus b. All right, we defined a function, and these a and b This is what we call it parameters. This a and b are parameters which we are passing to the function. Okay, parameters are placeholders you define in creating a function. When we are creating a function, we define these parameters that okay, I'm going to pass a and b in this function. Okay, now it's time for arguments. So when we are going to call this function, okay, then we are going to, this 5 and 6 are arguments to this. Let's say its result. Yeah, got getting the 11 over here. 5 plus 60, 65. So a and b are parameters and 5 and 60 are arguments over here. You can have multiple parameters too. There are like no limits. Okay, if you want to pass a, b, c, d, whatever, you can pass. Now, what if you don't pass enough arguments? Okay, let's just see one thing over here. Uh, let's say function arg. Here we are passing name and mood. Okay, and we are going to print console.log. Let's print name. This shows like how if you have to print multiple things in your console log, you can use this. Okay, if you wanna like make a sentence from this, you can use plus. If you wanna print multiple things separately, you can use comma. I'll show you. Like if I want to print a multiple sentence over here, okay, so I'll use plus. Is feeling, uh, then I'll print mood. All right. Okay, so our parameters are name and mood, and arguments are toaster and angry. Okay, let's just see how this console log works with this plus. Let me add a space over here. Yeah, toaster is feeling angry. This was our first argument, and this was our second argument which we passed. This is how you can write. If you want to just if you don't want this, you can just remove it, and you can use the comma, and this will just print toaster and angry. Okay, let's get back to our previous one, which what I wanted to show you. So let's say you have mentioned over here two parameters. Name and mood are the two parameters which we are passing in this welcome function. Let's remove one argument from here. We still have two parameters, but we are passing just one argument. Now what will happen? Let's see the magic. Toaster is feeling undefined. Yeah, JavaScript won't complain, but it will quietly set the missing value to undefined, as we have seen this in our previous video, that why this is undefined. Okay, if you haven't seen it, just go and watch our previous video of variables. Okay, it's just like your x when you ask for closure. It's undefined. So now comes the concept of default parameter. Let's use the same function as an example. Let's comment out this one over here, and what we can do over here is we can put the mood equals to awesome. So earlier, if you see here, we are getting the response as toaster is feeling undefined when we are not passing, when we are passing just single argument. Now if we'll do this here, toaster is feeling awesome, we have defined that okay, the mood will be awesome all the time. But here comes a twist. Since this is a JavaScript, so it can never work as you expect it to be. Okay, so you can do it here, like you can pass, hey, no, I'm not awesome, I'm angry. And now it's updated. Toaster is feeling angry. When you will pass this argument explicitly from here, then it will override this default. Default will only work, okay, when you are not passing anything. Default parameters is like it's a backup plan for your function in case you forget to send a value. Okay, think of it like no snacks, no problem, we have got toast. Anyway, after all, we are toaster code. Okay, these parameters, it behaves like a variables. You can just use them just like any other variable inside the function. But order matters here. What it means that order matters over here? It means that the first argument fills the first parameter, second to second, and so on. If I use this, let's remove the toaster from here, okay, and put the toaster here. Now the name will be angry and mood will be toaster. See, angry is feeling toaster. So the order in which you have mentioned this argument, okay, your parameters has to be also in the same order. Okay, there is a very fun thing in this JavaScript thing. I'll show you a very amazing and cool stuff over here. In the traditional function method, okay, like this is a function method, the traditional one, not the arrow one, okay, just in this traditional one, what you can do, you can like function count all, okay. We are not passing any arguments over here. What I can do over here is console.log arguments. Now you are thinking where these arguments come from. I'll just show you. Okay, I can do count all and I'll do like 1 2 3. Should I? Let's see what this function is going to do. Here, 1 2 3, and it's not just 1 2 3. Okay, it's like you can carry on with this 4 5 6. See, you are getting the result. This is an object. We are getting argument object 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is called the arguments object. Okay, it holds all past value, whatever the value you are passing, this argument holds that. Even if you like don't define any parameters, we haven't defined any parameters, just the argument we are passing. Okay, but this doesn't work in arrow function. It's just another quirk here. It's JavaScript, so it's very unpredictable language. Okay, so we have covered what functions are, how it writes them, and how to pass the data to them. But there is a sneaky question: where can you actually use those variables you declared? That brings us to the today's final thing: scope. Scope means where in your code can you access a variable. That's the scope. And in JavaScript we have three types of scope. Okay, let's just see it. uh, Global scope, then we have function scope, then we have block scope. Okay, these are the three type of scope we have in JavaScript. Okay, so we are going to see the global scope first. Let's see. Let snack equal to pizza. Now function eat, and there we will print console dot log snack. Okay, let's call this function, sorry, uh, let's write it eat. Your function name should always be meaningful. Okay, it's not like you are writing any gibberish, otherwise people will not be able to understand what this function does exactly. Your function name should be itself like self-explanatory that what this function is doing, but that doesn't mean you are going to write your function name that I'm missing my x. That's not how it works. Okay, function name has to be meaningful but short and precise. Like you can call the function over here eat, and we got this pizza over here. You see, this is a global scope. This variable is not inside this function scope. And even if you will do it here outside of this function, console.log snack, yeah, we got the pizza again. It's like pizza on the table. Anyone in the house can grab a slice. Okay, this pizza is on the table. Now let's see function scope. So let's do function kitchen function, and here what we can do, let secret sauce, maybe secret sauce, uh, mayo. Mayo is my secret sauce. If I'll do console dot log over here of secret sauce. Okay, let's call the function quickly. Okay, we have got the mayo over here. But what if I'll just do console log of secret sauce outside? Console dot log of secret sauce. Okay, then what will happen? Nope. Let's just comment it out over here for a moment. We don't have the output anymore. We're not getting mayo anymore. We have an error. What is the error? Secret sauce is not defined. Because this variable is defined inside the function. So you cannot access it outside the function. This will be reference error. You cannot access it. Okay, think of it like a secret recipe your mom keeps in her brain. If you were not in the kitchen when she said it, good luck finding it again. Okay, that's called function scope. Now let's see block scope. Blocks are anything wrapped inside this curly braces. Whatever wrapped inside this curly braces, that's their block. Like if, for, or just curly braces on their own. Let's see an if statement. uh, if true, uh, let toast equal to buttery, uh, const juice equal to orange, and where cereal. We are going to see all three. Let const where. These are the three types. Okay, let's do complex. I'll show you a cool thing. If you will do console.log toast, what do you think the output will be? If I'm going to do this console.log toast, we don't have any output. We have error. Toast is not defined. Okay, so let's do one. Let's remove the toast and let's see about juice. If we'll do juice, we again don't have any output. We have error. Juice is not defined. If I'll do cereal over here, then what will happen? We have the conflicts. Let and const, these two respects the block. Okay, where it just doesn't give a damn. It slips out like gossip at a family dinner. Okay, let's imagine JavaScript scope as room in the house. Okay, this scope as room in your own house. Understand it a better way. So the global scope will be living room. How living room? Like everyone can walk in and grab things from here. It's public, open, and shared. Okay, this global scope is public, open, and shared between everyone in the house, or whoever is coming to your house, even they can access it. All right, now comes the function scope. Function scope is like the bedroom. How bedroom? Only you can enter. It's private. If you leave something in here, no one in the hallway will see it. This function scope, it's private to you, to this function. Okay, and the block scope is like drawer. Okay, drawer inside your room. how it is. This one is even more specific. Variables declared with let and const. This the variable which we are declaring with let and const are like personal notes in your drawer. Unless you are inside that drawer block, you can't touch them. Okay, you cannot touch your notes when if you are not opening your drawer, right? But where is like leaving that sandwich in the hallway. It should have stayed in the drawer, but now everyone in the house can smell it. Now, why the scope matters in JavaScript? Right, that's a good question. Like, why do we give a damn about the scope? Okay, so it helps keep your variable clean and isolated. As you see all the above examples, based on your requirements, you are creating your variables and isolating it. All right. Now it prevents accidental overwrite. Let's say if I'll write over here, let toast equal to buttery. I don't have any error. Now I can print over here toast and I'll get the result. Okay, it prevents accidental. Let you write the variable again. Doesn't matter because that was inside this if block. So I'm writing this toast variable again outside that block. Okay, so it prevents. So why I'm saying it accidental override, because ideally you should never use the same variable name more than once, because that will be very confusing since you have written the code so you know it. Okay, but what if someone else is writing your code, or what if you yourself reading your code after a month maybe? So it prevents accidental overwrite. It makes your code easier to read, debug and trust. As I just give you example that if you'll see your code after a month, then it will make your code easier to read because you have just one variable at one time, one place and inside one block. So it makes your code easier to read, debug. You can debug it easily because you know that this variable has been created here and assigned at this place. You can trust it that okay, if the toast is inside this if block, I cannot access it outside. So that's why scope matters. Without proper scoping, one function can mess up another variables, like two people editing the same Google Doc with no chill, okay, of the code. So let's say function my heart here, uh, let x equal to Priya. Okay, and if we'll do console dot log uh, inside function, and let's call the function over here my heart. We have inside function ria. Okay, if I'll do it here, console.log outside function x, and if I'll do this, no, it will give me reference error. So just like in real life, your relationship with your ex only exists inside the story you told your best friend. Okay, step outside that story and JavaScript acts like she never existed. And that wraps up everything you need to know about function in JavaScript, from writing them to passing data to understanding how they behave with scope. So if this video helped you, smash that like button, subscribe to Toaster Code, and comment your favorite way to write a function, classic, arrow, or the spicy anonymous chaos. Until next time, keep your code clean, your scope tight, and your X out of global memory.